Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to a new tutorial in regards to sound design. In this particular week, I'm going to be focusing on Serum 2. Serum 2 is actually a very capable modular synthesizer. There's one thing that Serum is really good at, Serum 2 in particular, is really good at, and that's emulating West Coast synthesis. And in West Coast synthesis, what we do is we have a complex oscillator. There's an oscillator that has got a lot of interesting kind of like character and overtones that then gets modulated in frequency modulation and amplitude modulation in order to create kind of like really gnarly kind of textures. And this is 100% doable in something like Serum, and I really wanted to emphasize that. There we go. So as you can see here, I just got a quick example. This is Serum. This is a patch I created earlier. And this is just an example of how fat and how full you can actually make Serum sound like. So check this out. This is just a drum bass kind of like jungle beat, but the patch is made with Serum. Let's add some bass. So first things first, let's play a tone. So I always start with sound design. I hate having to play on the keyboard. So I'm going to just play with like a F sharp 0 long note. I'm going to do it, actually I'm going to make it longer. I'm going to make it like 2 bars. It's going to be like I'm going to make a bass sound for drum bass or jungle in this instance. Let me just show you. Okay, so let's press play. So not very exciting, is it? It's a bit like, yeah, okay, the typical doorbell sound. But we can change the wavetable position. Let's just go into assign. You won't be able to hear anything if you're not wearing headphones, by the way. So just, yeah, if you don't have headphones, you're not going to be able to really tell what's going on because it's just a pure sine and it's playing very, very low. But one thing that we can do in Serum 2 that's extremely powerful is this. If we wanted to emulate a complex oscillator, which is very characteristic of West Coast synthesis, like the Buchla synths, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add complexity to this sine. Okay, obviously you can try with the myriad of different shapes that you got in the Oscillator A, but I want to show you something else. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the warp, and I'm going to go to warp 1. Okay, and I'm going to select the distortion. And then down from the distortion, I'm going to use linear fold. And this is one sound that's very characteristic, which is the wave folding, which is basically as we fold, it basically folds away from inwards. It's a very funny kind of process, but it gives us lots of interesting harmonics. You can see in real time. You can see it's like suddenly this top of the wave starts going down and the bottom goes down like that, right? And as you keep doing it, it keeps folding and folding and folding and folding. And the more you fold it, the more complex the tone gets, right? So that is West Coast synthesis. A lot of the Buchla synthesizers use wave folding, right? Like the Buchla easel, in case you might be wondering, right? The other thing as well that we're going to do is we're only going to use one oscillator. And by the way, that is not going to be detrimental to the sound per se, right? It's actually quite cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to use oscillator B as a modulator. Okay, I'm going to set that to sine just for now. I mean, a lot of the times you can even try with something a little bit more complex, like a triangle. Gives us a slightly thicker tone, which is quite cool. I don't know, let's go to sines for now, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take FM from Oscillator B as well, right? So if we go over here, we just go into the warping, we got FM and Oscillator B, and now we play the tone, we get typical FM, right? Great. But the other thing that was really interesting and very characteristic of West Coast synthesis is the fact that you could modulate this with another oscillator. At the moment, you can see that I'm already using another warp for FM, which is not ideal. You can see the linear fold cannot be modulated, can it? Well, it can. And this is a little secret. So look, I'm going to use B to modulate the linear fold as well. And obviously, we don't want the level of B to be up. Let's just turn it down. But let's go into linear fold here. What I'm going to do is right click and modulate to source. I'm actually going to use an oscillator, and this is insane. This to me is absolutely bonkers. The fact that you can use a noise oscillator, oscillator A, the output, right? The output of oscillator A, of oscillator B and C, and even the sub-oscillator to modulate anything inside Serum 2 absolutely blows my mind. So you can do really insane stuff, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But the first thing is let's get oscillator B to modulate the linear fault. And here, you can see it's two stream, right? But we can go over to the matrix here and we can dial it back down if you want it. So you can see oscillator B is controlling. I'm just going to go up and down. So it's positive and negative, right? So that sounds more natural. And obviously that's quite a lot. So let's just dial it down. So it already sounds quite cool. It's really nice if you start detuning. Look. So that's another little trick that I wanted to share with you. There's another trick as well that we can do that's even cooler. You see, like normally if we want to have a kind of like spread out sound, we use unison. If we want the sound to be kind of stable, we can play around with the tuning to kind of make it sound like less dense, so it's a little bit more focus in the center. But that's not ideal. Like here you can obviously change if you want per voice. You can change the number of voices, maybe 3 voices. You can set each voice on a different step in the phase like this. So that could give you something that's kind of like mono compatible, right? Or close to mono compatible, which is really nice. And you still can turn off the detuning and you still get stereo width. What happens if you don't want to have that kind of unison effect, but you still want the width? And the panning can also be modulated. And oh my god, and the level. Okay, so the panning can be modulated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modulate the panning of this at audio rate, so really, really fast, and it's going to be modulated by itself. So let's go to panning and say mod source oscillator A, and lo and behold, check out the sound now. Nice and wide. Let's bypass it. Center and open, right? Look, wicked. It's got a nice movement to it, right? At the moment the sounds are static. I mean, they've got some modulation and stuff like that, but they are fairly static. But one thing that we can do is we can add a little bit of noise, and the noise can be unpredictable. I'm going to change this to all voices, and this gives me control of the phase. Let's modulate the wavetable position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to smooth interpolation on both, and then just do very subtle. Let's just move it to where it's supposed to be. I definitely want it to be on this sine, and then we can do a little bit of very, very faint wavetable position modulation with the noise to give the oscillators a little bit of something, like a little bit of movement, so it's not so stable, right? Let's go right here. So noise oscillator, right, and the noise oscillator here, and I'm gonna just like fine tune it without even listening to it. I'm just gonna do very, very subtle. So if you go to the matrix here, you can see that the noise oscillator is controlling the wavetable position of A. You can see that in there, and the wavetable position of B. But I want it to be very, very subtle because I don't want it to go super crazy. There you go, right? Let's play the beat. It's playing a little bit on the right. I think there's some changes I did there, but it's still okay. I think it's the FM. There you go. And of course you can cross modulate, take this LFO and just do some crazy stuff like this. Let's do less. Yeah, let's go very subtle with that. Sidechain it. I already got a sidechain in there. I'm just going to copy it. I like to modulate the LFO to itself. So it creates some really interesting movement. This is a little secret which I thought I'd share. So I don't even play with the shapes. I mean, you could play with the shape, or you could potentially like take the shape from any of the oscillators, right? So remember that we can also do that. We can go here and we can say wavetable A to LFO, which is freaking cool. So I can have that as an LFO. But what we can do is we can take this LFO1 controlling the rate of itself. All right, so let's have a listen to that. Let's slow it down. And I want to do the volume as well. Let's bring it down. That's cool, isn't it? Potentially, I'm wondering if I could do something else. What if I do the, so if I get rid of that, so let's just go into mod source. So I don't want this LFO. Use a filter for that, because it's easier, right? So let's just go into one of the new filters as well, which I'm going to use, which is this one here called the Acid Ladder. It gives you the sound of the 303, which is freaking nice, and I love that. So let's just bring it down. Maybe not so filtered. You see what I mean? So the shape of the LFO controls the rate. So it's really crazy, but I like it. And then you can dial it down. There you go. Or maybe like go a little bit faster. Let's go faster on this. There. Remember guys, it's just a sustained note, right? Let's turn it up a little bit. Nice. Maybe change the shape here, maybe for this modulator. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's just turn that to 0. What we can also do is this. We can do the same to the effects. So if I add like a distortion just to make it sound crunchy, let's bring the drive up. It's already like really crunchy, right? Which is cool. What we can also do is we can go mod source and we can go to oscillator A, and then if we bring it up in volume, so let's just go down, oscillator A to FX distortion, positive and negative, right? So it sounds more natural. So it just makes the distortion kind of like integrated into the sound more, look. And this is really cool if you play with filters and whatnot and then give it some character, like look. So again guys, thank you so much for watching. This is a little bit more advanced than the usual and only just really getting started with Serum 2. I think it's an absolute beast of a synthesizer, in all fairness. It does a lot. And yeah, I hope that helps you, especially for those of you that are really advanced. You know, you can test these things and modulate everything and see what happens, right? So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you like the video, give us a like as well. And yeah, let me know what you thought. Take care guys.